Okay, my pizza, check. Cold drink, check. New Jersey, check. Louie T Network, check. Okay, I'm ready, let's go. Yeah, I'm so happy football back, I'm headed home in a rush now. Yeah, I'm so hyped, I can see my defense rush now. Yeah, I got 20 wings that I'm about to bust down to make me put my 2 arms up. I'm hollering touchdown. We put in hard work, shit, I'm talking steel toes. Yeah. It's 4 for 3 on the 30 and I'm kicking field goals. It's good. That mean I play it safe, but yet I cause damage. Okay. And we get it how we live with home field advantage. So run that extra lap, throw that extra pass. Okay. You know what they say, nice guys finish last. Hopefully we gon' see somebody dab soon. We gon' talk about it on Louie T in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? And looky here, your man Louie T's got a Patreon page that I'm really excited about. And I'm gonna be real with you. You know, I won't sugarcoat you. This here is the future. Most major projects in the future will be hosted on Patreon as exclusive content for donating viewers. All right, let's be honest, let's be frank. I gotta take care of the paying customers. You feel me, right? Cats that's helping further along the movement and powering the dream. I gotta take care of them with exclusive content that they can't get anywhere else. You feel me on that? In any event, this video's specific purpose is to highlight the different tiers that exist on my Patreon page. There are 3 in total, and they go as follows: competitive, contender, and the best being champion. Now, these tiers provide bonus content or rewards, as it's called on Patreon. In other words, exclusive content that you just can't get anywhere else. All right, so let's jump into these tiers specifically and talk about what perks come with each one. We'll start with the competitive tier, and for a donation of $10 a month, you'll receive the following. You'll receive the NFL Power Index and the list. And for those of you familiar with the podcast, you remember the list. I've taken the list to the next level. This is the podcast version on steroids. So let's talk about these 2 things real quick. The NFL Power Index is essentially a glorified way of saying the NFL Power Rankings. This is a unique season in which everyone, with the exception of about 10 to 12 teams right now, have a realistic and legitimate shot at winning a Super Bowl this year. And I look around the league and it's so hard to put together a power ranking because there really hasn't been a team to step up and separate themselves from the rest of the group. Every team has its flaws, and you could argue any team could be beaten on any given Sunday. There isn't one team that stands out amongst the rest as the best. So the NFL Power Rankings, probably this year more so than most, is the most interesting. And I find myself each week finding it incredibly difficult and increasingly difficult to come up with a top 5, a top 10, a top 15 in the league, because all of these teams are so closely matted together. So the NFL Power Rankings, or as I like to call it, the NFL Power Index, would be really intriguing for you guys to see. And then, of course, I'll put my little twist on it there. But the list is exactly what it sounds like. It's my list always compiles of 7. I'm a guy that loves the number 7. I've got my few numbers that I absolutely love. 7 is one of them. And so my list always is comprised of 7. And I'm going to give you the top 7 of any specific category that just tickles my fancy at the time. I may feel like giving you the top 7 college running back prospects in the 2018 NFL draft. I may give you the top 7 quarterbacks in the league right now, the top 7 head coaches that have a chance to win Coach of the Year, top 7 rookies of the year prospects. I might give you the top 7 home field advantage list. I mean, I could give you the top 7 most underrated players in the league. Something of that ilk. You'll get that on the list. And like I said, I'll put a little twist on it. But for those of you familiar with my podcast and the list that was on the podcast, this is exactly that on steroids. So those would be the two exclusive content items that you would get if you are a member of the competitive tier. So moving right along to the next tier, you find yourself at the contender tier. And this is a huge step up from the first tier, the competitive tier, because this next tier gives you the first two items that I just mentioned, the power index and the list, but it also includes a brand new series that I've created called Teed Up. And what Teed Up is basically your man Louie T, uncut, unfiltered, giving you some of the rawest topics in the NFL in a really unique format in which I'm teeing cats up. I'm handing out technical fouls to cats that's just out of line, that are flagrant, who have stepped out of bounds and must be checked. For example, I had a little bit of an episode, a little snippet in which this week's episode, I talked about Papa John's and how they came out and said that the NFL not handling the kneeling situation and the flag and the anthem situation properly has affected their bottom line negatively. And to them, you know, on the show, I said, basically, the NFL and their situation has nothing to do with your sales being lower than what they have been in the past. I can simply chalk up Papa John's sales plummeting to this. Bitch, your pizza is garbage. So that's the kind of content that you'll get on Teed Up. So for $20 a month, a donation of $20 a month, you will be a contender and you'll get the NFL Power Index, the list, and you'll also get Teed Up, which is one of my favorite programs because it's uncut, it's unfiltered. It's probably you seeing me in a way that you may never have seen me before. And sometimes you just gotta let cats know what's really good. You know what I'm saying? What's really good? You gotta let them know what's really good. And Teed Up is basically gonna do that. So that is a huge step up in donation, but it's well worth it because that product in itself is probably worth $20, the price of admission by itself. Not to mention you also get the Power Index and the list in addition to that. And then finally, the champion tier is the biggest, the best tier. And for $25 a month donation, you will get all of the ones that I mentioned before, the NFL Power Index, the list, Teed Up, and you'll also get the rookie wall enthralled in all of that, ingrained in all of that. Tossed in will be the rookie wall as well. For those of you who watched the Louie T Live program last year, who have been on my podcast in the past, then you know what the rookie wall is all about. We talk about the league's rookies and where they rank in 2017. And that's something that I always enjoy doing because sometimes a lot of you guys aren't able to follow what the rookies are doing around the league. You don't get to watch these games every single week. And I am able to watch every single game. And because I am able to do that, I am able to see what these rookies are doing across the league. And I'll be able to keep you abreast of what's going on with the rookie wall, telling you where these players are in the rookie standings and who will probably win Rookie of the Year offensively, defensively, and what these players are doing and how well they're performing in their rookie season. So for those of you familiar with the rookie wall, you'll know that you'll enjoy just hearing my thoughts on these rookies, what they're doing, the production that they're providing for their teams, and why they rank where they rank. And that list fluctuates from week to week, and you get a different list every single week. And there are some intriguing names on the list this year, and this list is a lot different than last year where you had three dominant players in Wentz, Prescott, and Elliott last year that you knew weren't going to leave the list. This list this season is a lot different because there have been some outstanding rookies, but they've been inconsistent. We've had guys get hurt. We've had guys be out for the remainder of the season, like a Dalvin Cook. Leonard Fournette just missed the game. So, you know, the list is going to change from week to week because other guys are playing and performing at a high level. And so that's something that you'll get with all of the other things that I mentioned with the champion tier. So quickly to recap, the competitive tier, for a donation of $10 a month, you'll get the NFL Power Index, which is just a glorified way of saying the NFL Power Rankings, and the list. With the second tier, the Contender tier, for $20 a month as a donation, you'll get the NFL Power Index, the list, and Teed Up. Okay, so yes, while it's a huge step up in donation, it is also well worth the price of admission because of the program Teed Up. And then finally, the Champion tier is the best of the best, the creme de la creme. You're getting all of the exclusive content. You're getting the Power Index. You're getting the list. You're getting Teed Up. You're also getting the rookie wall. And so I may even add an extra perk in there for the Champion tier, because if you're donating $25 a month, then I'm gonna go all out for you. So I may even add in an extra program. I've got so many different shows that have never been released in the vault. I may just pull out something in the vault and also release that. Almost like a artist that has unreleased tracks. I've got a lot of videos and series that I've come up with, ideas that I've come up with, that I've recorded, that I just never put out to the masses because maybe I didn't think it was good enough, or maybe I didn't think it was time, or maybe I said, I'll use that idea at another time. You're donating $25 a month. I'll give you some of the things that I have stashed away in the vault. So that's the Patreon perk there. That's the angle from Patreon. If you're donating to the Louie T Network, if you're helping further this channel along, you're going to get exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else. And it's going to be well worth your donation every single week. And I'm going to take it a step further. These prices may change. If you're grandfathered in, you won't be asked to pay a dime more. But when the content starts to ratchet up, what's going to happen is the monetary value may get ratcheted up. And in the off season, a lot of that draft content that you guys have been getting in the past for $0.00, that's going to change, because I'm going to start implementing in clips of these players, as well as my commentary, as you see what I see when I'm breaking them down. A lot of people have been asking me in the past for visual evidence and empirical proof of what I'm saying. So I'm going to be doing that via Patreon, and you won't be able to access that on YouTube. And so as we get into the offseason and we start talking draft and we start breaking these players down, a lot of that content is going to be on Patreon. I told you, that's the future. And so you guys need to get on this train before it gets going. And all of a sudden now you get left at the station. So you've been warned. Patreon is the future of the Louie T Network in terms of exclusive content. And so here it is. I've laid it out for you. I've laid out the format. I've laid out the tiers. I've laid out the donation, what it's going to take for you to get your hands on this exclusive content. We'll see who acts on this and who continues to just be, as we call them, lurkers. So we'll see what happens. But in any event, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. And I thank you in advance for your donation to the Louie T Network. We changing the game over here. Want you to be a part of that. And the biggest way that you can be a part of that is by donating via Patreon. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on. And once again, I want to thank you in advance for any donation. And even if you don't make it to one of these tiers and you just want to give up $5 or $7 a month, I appreciate that as well. But in any event, thanks again. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Louie T Network, check. Okay, I'm ready, let's go. Yeah, I'm so happy football back, I'm headed home in a rush now. Yeah, I'm so hyped, I can see my defense rush now. Yeah, I got 20 wings that I'm about to bust down to make me put my 2 arms up. I'm hollering touchdown. We put in hard work, shit, I'm talking steel toe.